A message from the stars. Dear Planet Psycho, you would like to communicate with us. Why don't you try communicating with each other first? Then, once you figure that out, try communicating with one of the other species that we put there with you. Here's a test. What does a dog say when it says ruff? You don't know. How would you know what we're communicating to you? Okay, let's take your best dolphin trainers in the world. When a dolphin screeches, what's it saying? How do you know what we're communicating to you? You may notice the base of your communication is to not communicate. It's to direct. That's because you just want to control. You confuse communication with commanding. Communication is two-way. Commanding is one-way. That's what you call communication. You can't figure that out. So what happened? It's actually rather simple. We set your brains at 10% capacity, wanting you to learn about you as well as all the other species. We thought, for survival reasons, you would remain in that workshop at least until your brain was 20, 30, 40+% capacity. It turned out you didn't do the work. You just went out and played. We thought when you invented the dog whistle, that would have been an alert for you that, hey, there's a whole realm here that we don't even know exists. But you all stopped at the dog whistle. And you think that dog whistle, that one tone, is the only tone that exists that you can't hear. So you can't communicate and you can't hear. And you're stuck at 10% capacity. Yet you're convinced that you're the smartest species on that planet. The smartest species on that planet. On that planet. On that planet. You should know that we've always been communicating. Just not with you. With all the other species. With all the other species. You don't have recognition for anything because you're sure you have recognition for everything. You could stop building all those satellites and whatever else you're all doing down there to communicate with us because we're already communicating. You don't need to. You know why? Because no matter what you gather, it's got to funnel into your 10%. It's got to funnel into your 10%. It's got to funnel into your 10%. If you wanted to know where you're failing, we couldn't communicate that to you. Because you already know all there is to know. Because you already know all there is to know. But for the few that actually have application, all species has two divisions at their core, all over the galaxies, including in your oceans, including in your woods, including in your homes. Two. Only two. Conscionable, unconscionable. It is a genetic flaw throughout all beings. You don't take the lessons provided. You have species on your planet. Do you have bidirectional communication with any of them? No. How are you going to have bidirectional communication with us? You can't. Why? Because you're at 10%. It won't take much to fool you. Your 10% calls it progress, but the entire planet around you is in regress. That's because you're the problem. You didn't handle your unconscionables. We are already communicating. At 10%, you don't have bidirectional communication. You have unconscionables convincing you that you do, but yet right in front of you, you can recognize that you don't, no matter where you look, even with yourselves. Here is a hint. All species were programmed for logic. Your species is the only species that converted it. That's how we know you were overrun by unconscionables. Only unconscionables would change your operating system. Only unconscionables would change your operating system, which is required for survival. Logic, logic, logic. Even we never imagined any species would turn over their young to anybody or anything for any reason. We figured out the problem and fixed it. We needed to set it at 15%. Meanwhile, you're on your own. But we really knew the unconscionables overtook you when the entire galaxies vibrated from your explosions. From your explosions. Now, I know that you think that we can't feel the vibrations. That's because you're a 10% and you know everything there is to know about everything. There's nothing else for you to learn. We knew it was just a matter of time. At 10%, you couldn't even figure out that there was a species divide, or that logic and psychologic is not the same. That itself is psychologic, because logic, everything matches. Everything matches. And your psychologic, only the few logical pieces match, which has you all thinking that psychological is logical. You're supposed to be feeding your children. Unconscionables have you feeding their children. You've divided your intelligence into two categories, except you mislabeled the categories. You call it job or college. It's logical or psychological. Actions, stories. You paid for stories, now you're forced to sell those stories. Or whatever stories you come up with. It just can never possibly be anything related to logical. And trapped at 10%, you can't even figure out if unconscionables are taking over and running everything, why would you listen to what they tell you is good for you? They convinced you your thumbs were for turning pages, not for building. And when you turn the page, you'll get information that they provided through that same avenue called psychologic. That's why logic and psychologic is so definedly separated on your planet. Do you think it's an accident that most things go to the group that they control most easily? Easily controlled because they have no skills. And they're trapped at 10%. And they think they're the smart ones. 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 What about your cats? It says meow. Do you know what meow means? How about one directional with your cat? Do you have one directional communication with your cat? Are you curious about any of that? No, because curiosity killed the cat. But the cat's fine. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. However, lack of curiosity kills the brain. Then trapped in answer relay, where actual experiences are very rare and stories based in stories become just as valued as actual experiences. Welcome to Planet Psycho, where actual experience is overrated and takes way too much time. Do you have one directional communication with your cat? Do you have one directional communication with your cat? And they think they're the smart ones. 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 Do you have one directional communication with your cat?